Question of the day. What's your favorite game dealing with markets, manipulating markets, playing markets to their advantage, making it where you can buy or sell things at your best interest and also potentially hurting the interest of others? Because today we're taking a look at a game that is a very unique spin on markets. In fact, if you stood back from this game and looked at it, you would think this was some sort of area controlled dudes on a map fighting game, but it's not. It is called Excavation Earth by David Twitsley. Now, look, I love David's work. I probably butchered his last name. I apologize. We've talked in person, but South Alabama. David's work is fantastic because it has a deceptive ability about it, where when you see a David game on the table, you go, wow, I don't know if I can learn that. That looks crazy. And then you start playing, you go, oh wow, this makes sense. Everything about this just kind of flows and works, and the iconography works, it makes sense, it plays well. So that's what David's really, really, really good about, is taking a game that looks daunting. And to me, I love games that look daunting, that play smooth, because they have that table presence where people walk past and go, whoa, I want to play that. This is no exception. So let's take a look right now at Excavation Earth, what it is, how it plays, what it does, and if you should pick this game up right now. This is Excavation Earth set up for 2 players currently. You also have a mothership board over there, as well as a buyer board, which we're going to show you in a second. Then you also have a personal player board down here, which has got a cargo hold, as well as a hidden cargo hold for illicit goods, and an area for you to have samples in your gallery. You also have a draw stack here with the survey forecast, which this changes based on player count. Over here on the main board, a couple things to notice. There are 5 different regions based on different colors. You've got yellow, red, green, or bluish, I guess, purple, and orange. These are different regions based on certain things that matter with this. There are markets that are also involved with different symbols. Now, the market's symbol and the colors of the region don't matter. They're not the same thing. So that's why there's 2 different kind of things to keep track of, symbols and colors. In order to get the different colors, though, certain restrictions apply based on the action cards you play. Some of the actions require you to play based on the color. Some of them require you to play based on the action symbol there of the market. We'll talk about that in just a minute. At the beginning of the game, everyone gets 6 cards to start their initial hand. There are 3 rounds in the entire game, which seems like it's going to go pretty fast, but there's a lot to do on your turn, and you can choose to pass when you want to. Down here you have the black market as well. These are what's available to buy during the smuggle action, which we're going to talk about. Everybody has a personal player power that just gives you a slight boost based kind of on one of the actions. Before you get started, the preparation phase covers how you get started for a round. First of all, you're going to enable the command abilities. That will not happen on round 1, but they have these 3 command cards, only 3 per the game. Round 2, you start on the white side. Round 3, you start on the yellow side. They are just really nice powers that we'll talk about in a minute. Then you reset the buyer queue. That's done based on all of the markets have to have 3 buyers pretty much evenly in their queue up there. And those are who want to buy the materials that you pick up off Earth. And we'll talk about that during the sell action. You resolve the surveyor forecast. So these cards down here that we talked about earlier, this is what's going to put new artifacts out onto the main board. And that can be changed based on a certain action. Determine turn order. The first round, you're going to be going based on the initiative number on your player board right there. 4. After that, subsequently, whatever that word is, you're going to pick up one of these initiative tokens based on doing the survey action. Refill your player hand. You're going to get 8 new cards in the next hand, and you're going to draft to keep those cards, and you're going to cycle the black market, which means you're going to take the token from the black market and cycle those to where you have new fresh ones. Now, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 actions you can do. In the first round, there's only 7 because you can't do the command action. But what you're going to do is you're going to get a hand of cards. So we're going to get our 6 cards here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, in subsequent rounds, you might have more. So we have 6 cards here. And then you also have 3 travel cards, 2, 3, and 4 distance. You're also going to start with one of your explorers here on this market, 1 here, and then the last one is your choice. You can start at a market, a dig site, or a black market. The difference is these are the markets up here with the single symbols. The black markets have the double symbols down here, and then the dig sites are these ones based on the colors. This space has multiple dig sites at it, and kind of like Pandemic, you can move from this space across this dotted line over to the other side of the board. It does wrap, but normally you can move one space at a time per energy cell like that. So the first action you can do is travel. You spend a card. You're always going to spend a card for every action. You could spend one of your generic travel action cards to spin that and move. So let's just say we wanted to move 4 spaces. That does not mean, excuse me, this should be like this. That does not mean you have to move one person 4 spaces. You could do 1, 2, 3, 4 if you wanted to. Split that action up. You also have a third one you could split some of the action up with. That's movement. Essentially, you're just positioning yourself for another turn. Now, these travel cards you always have, so discard them in your personal player area. However, if you had already used your travel cards, you can use any other color card for 3 travel. You would discard these to the main discard. That's what traveling is. It basically just sets you up for what the other actions are. The next one is excavate. So on the reference card, a couple things to note because I want you to see it kind of close here. Yellow means that you have to play a card of a certain color based on what's out there. The symbol here means you have to play a card of a certain symbol. Now they're generic on this to show you, just to keep track of that in mind. If it's just blank and white, it means you can play any of the cards. So that's what the restrictions are. So for excavate, you're going to play a card matching the color of where one of your explorers is standing at a dig site. So let's say I want to take these yellow. You can get up to 2 artifacts if you're in the same region, and you can do it. So we're going to take this card. It's yellow, matches the region we're in. We're going to play it. We're going to take this artifact and this artifact. We do have a space over here on our player board. I'll show you. So we're going to put it onto our player board right here in our main hold. Then you can do what's called taking samples, and you're going to hire security guards to guard those samples. And what this is, you're going to take one of your tokens here that you have, and they're useful for 3 different things, either security guards, traders, or envoys, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Now we're going to match the symbols. So we have a yellow with the Z shape there and the little mountain shape. So we're going to put a cube here and here. Now these are very nice because at the end of the game, this is a major way to score points. So what happens is, throughout the game, anytime you gain a new artifact, you're going to be able to take samples and put them down here. At the end of the game, you score the rows and the columns based on however many cubes there. The columns have a minimum of 2, the rows have a minimum of 3. One other note, if you fill a column completely, you get a free card, essentially extending your turn potentially. You can do that up to 5 times. You fill a row, nothing happens, but you do get a whole lot of points at the end of the game. So if you have 5 here, it's 27, 23, 21, 23. This is 16, 15, 18, 14, 15, and then varying degrees of less as you have fewer there. But that's what happens on your player board. Now you could take from if you bought at the black market, you could put them here in these goods, but regular goods can't go in the black market hole or the hidden hole. Now, that's excavate. Again, you have to have a explorer present and explorer present. Market. This one is an interesting one. It says market, but what you're essentially doing is setting yourself up to be able to sell to the markets up top. So normally in order to sell, you have to have a trader up there. The way the market works is you discard a card matching the symbol, see? Matching the symbol of the market that you're standing at. So let's just say we want to eventually sell to this market. We need to be standing here with an explorer at that market. We need to discard that market's card, which we have here in our hand, boom. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take one of our traders here. We're gonna put it up here on the market, means we now can trade there. And then you're also going to, if you choose to, take one of the white wild buyers and one of the buyers of your choice and put it in the back of the queue. So if we wanted to do that, you can take a white one and put it here. They can only ever have 4, which means if you choose to do another one, let's just say I wanted to put an orange here, I would put the orange here, this blue would bump off and move. Now let me show you the buyer board really quick just to show you why that's important. Over here on the buyer board, this is what manipulates the pricing essentially, or the amount of points you're going to get when you sell. The most popular, which is currently a tie between yellow and red because they're both at 6, gains you 9 credits at a baseline. If you sell to more than one market, you get more points. We'll talk about that in a minute. And each person you sell to over there also gets you more. So you want to kind of set those markets up and manipulate them to be ready to do what you need them to do. But again, unless you're one of the special powers here of the merchant, you have to have a trader at that market to sell it. So let's talk about sell. Again, this is one of the actions that features just a white card, which means you discard a card and you can sell. So you name a market and then you would name a region. or excuse me, you name a region. So let's just say I'm going to discard this card. We're going to sell our yellow goods here, actually, because they're wild. So we're going to sell our yellow goods here. Now we are only going to be able to use one, except I have the merchant, which allows me to sell to a market that's not one of the ones I have a trader on. So we're going to choose 2 of the markets out there, and we're going to sell to 2 different ones. Now you don't get 9 apiece, but you get a baseline of 9, since it's the most popular. We're going to get 2 markets, which means we get a bonus of 3 points, so that's up to 12. There are now 1, 2, 3, 4 of the people there who want to buy this, so that's another 8 points, excuse me. So we're at 17 points for this. You then take the money, sell those off, then your trader moves over here and becomes an envoy of that market on the mothership board. You'll see it over there. They've got 3 symbols on them. There's 2, 2, and 2. We're going to put our token here on this space where it belongs. This is a majority section to score at the end of each round. And then all of the the buyers who bought will go here. If there was anybody else there that you've already sold to, they will get pushed back onto the board, again, manipulating those prices. That's how you sell. Let's keep going with the next actions. Command action. This is only available in rounds 2 and 3, but essentially you're going to discard a card matching the market you're standing in, and also the market, actually it doesn't matter the market you're standing, but you're going to discard a card based on the market that these are in. So these will be up at the top of those spaces on the mothership. And if you wanted to play the one here, you would have to play either this symbol or that symbol. Same thing there, same thing there. And these are just little bonuses like retrieve all your fuel cards, excavate up to 2 artifacts of different colors from locations where you have explorers present. So this is nice because you could get 2 different colors elsewhere on the board. So this is actually, to me, more powerful than the regular excavation action because you don't have to be in the same place and you can do different colors. And then they just get better in round 3. That's the command action. You also put a trader on the market, one of these on the market of the one of the symbol you play. So let's just say we chose to use that sort of trilobite looking one. We would take the action over there as well as put a trader here. So it's another way to get traders out there. Smuggle. So essentially you're going to buy or sell at the black market. You have to be standing at one of the black markets. You have to discard the card of the symbol matching one of the symbols on the black market that you're standing at. Seems like a lot of words, but you get this. You start to make sense as you see the iconography. Then you can either buy or sell 2 different colors of goods here. When you sell them for the base price listed on them. So let's say we sold this, this unicorn onesie sort of deal. We'd get 4 space bucks for that. And then if we wanted to, we could buy them or sell them. Excuse me, we could buy them. And if we buy them, it's the amount plus 1. So it's 4, we'd pay 5. Now, keep rolling. Survey is the last action. Essentially what you're going to do is you're going to take a card that you want to use color-wise because you know that's what you want to put on the board. Let's say we want an orange artifact to hit the board next round. We'll take one of these, and any of these that don't have a token on them already, one of the trader tokens or command tokens, you're going to put this out here, put that on it, and then you're going to draw 2 of these. The top one goes out on the board. The second one you can choose to buy for double the price if you want, just straight into your hold. So 5, this would go onto the board matching the symbol. This we could pay 10 for, put straight into our cargo holds. And that's it, survey, and then you would take the initiative token, the lowest one out there. So that's how you get first player token. Those will reset obviously on the board, and then we'll go to passing. Passing is basically you choose to, when you want to, say, all right, I'm done. You could keep cards in your hands. You're going to keep a maximum of 2 at the end of this, but when you pass, you essentially are out for the round. Then you go to scoring. The thing that scores during scoring is just the majorities over there on the mothership. It's first round, 5 points for the most. Second round is 10 points, and then 5 for second place. Third round is 15, 10, and 5. At the end of the game, the only other thing you're scoring is the samples down here on your board. Person with the most money wins the game. That is how you play Excavation Earth. So that's Excavation Earth. Now, admittedly, when I first saw this, I thought, man, this is going to be tough to learn. There's a lot to it. But then when I started getting into it, opening the rules and reading through it and playing, it's not. It's really actually pretty quick to learn and pretty quick to teach. There's a couple nuanced little rules that you need to remember because they're very important when it comes to scoring, i.e. taking samples and security guards. Those are important rules to remember, but The flow of the game is actually very simple. Let's talk top down first. Art. I love the way this game looks. The art is beautiful in this game. It looks really, really, really good. The miniature pieces themselves, the wooden screen printed meeples of your explorers just look so, so good. That's one added benefit they didn't have to do. They could have just done wooden cutout shapes to match each color, but the screen printed meeple of the explorers matching the symbol on your player board, great. Love it, love it, love it. The actual art of everything. If I had to ding it, the only spot that's kind of just simple is the cards themselves, because they are meant to convey two pieces of information, really, the color and the symbol. Yeah, they do have the thing at the bottom, but still, by comparison to the rest of the game, the art is just so good in this game. It really, really, really is. Not just art, but art direction too. It all makes sense, it all flows, it all works really, really, really well. Every symbol matters, nothing is wasted. It's kind of like J.R. Tolkien. There's no throwaway references, right? So that's the art direction of the game. Now let's talk about the actual flow and play of the game itself, how the game plays. Is it something that you would enjoy based on the mechanics of play? Absolutely. This is a gem. This is a hidden gem for me. And I say that because I'm not seeing it talked about as much as it should be. And again, because of the whole last 18 months, everything has kind of just been up in the air with conversations about gaming. But this game is really good. It is a very, very, very good game. I love how you manipulate those markets, but not in a mean way. Yes, you can potentially, somebody can go, oh, I was going to sell to red next turn, and now they're not. Okay, that's not the worst thing in the world, because it's not the only way to win is by selling to those markets. You can eke out a good winning by selling to the black market and getting points on your board from doing the filling your grid and the security system at the bottom, and almost ignoring the top right board. If you fill out all those points in the bottom and maybe squeak out a couple of ties or at least second places up in the top right, you can do really well in this game, and there's multiple ways to do that. So I like that you're not pigeonholed into just having to follow one method or one style of play. Very solid game. All the actions make sense. At first you go, oh, well, that action's not that great, I'm probably never going to use it. I thought that about Survey at first when I first started playing. Then I was like, oh wow, Survey's great. All of the player powers are great. They're just a souped up version of each one of the actions, essentially. And when you see it, you go, oh man, theirs is really good. When they see yours, they go, oh, yours is really good. I had the merchants the last time we played, or the one I was showing you in there, and I love how the merchants get that ability just to be able to sell to a market that matches the color, matches the symbol, but you don't have to have a trader there. That's huge, because essentially, that potentially cuts out an extra action that you don't have to do to put a market action, to put a trader there. You could get lucky and have the setup already ready and then play it, and then have the ability to sell the two different markets, giving you that, or three different markets for that matter, if you have two and then one, giving you that bonus already. So the little twists and turns that each of the player powers give, it's fantastic. So I'm a huge fan of this game. This is going to probably make it on my games at the end of the year of just big hits for me. Big hits for me for 2021. If you can get your hands on this, go find it. Excavation Earth is a phenomenal game. Love it, love it, love it so much. Go check it out. David's a great guy, but I'm not giving that review based on David. I'm giving the review based on the game. It's a phenomenal, fantastic game. Love it, love the art, love the play, love the style. This is going to stay in our collection for years to come. So go get a copy of Excavation Earth and pick up the expansion too. I'm going to do an expansion review of that later, but it adds quite a few little modules that are great to tweak and add to it too. So that's enough for me. Go get the game. It's fun. It's a blast. Huge fan of this game. This is an 8.5 for me. I'm Bryan Drake here on the Dice Tower. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, etc. at Dice Tower Bryan. Until next time, we'll see you.